20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!
Last year's team is a benchmark when John Elway sizes up this year's team.
It's a very deep team, very talented team, and a very focused team on wanting to win football games. So it's definitely comparable, and I'm hoping it's just as good, and I'm hoping I can say at the end of the year it was even better.
This team may very well be repeated this January. And tonight, the Denver Broncos try to go 10-0, facing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a rivalry with a rich history. And they go at it again tonight on ABC's Monday Night Football. What a gorgeous mid-November evening in America's heartland as you look at downtown Kansas City. The temperature today got up into the 60s, and a few miles east, Arrowhead Stadium filled as always as the Chiefs are at home tonight hosting the Denver Broncos. I'm Al Michaels along with Dan Deerdorf and Boomer Esiason, and nothing can derail the Denver Bronco Express. They have not lost a game in almost a year. Their last loss last December 15th at San Francisco on a Monday night, when they also lost Terrell Davis with a sprained shoulder. But of course, he got back. They swept the 3 games in the playoffs last year, including the Super Bowl. They are 9-0 during the regular season, trying to duplicate the feat of the 1972 Miami Dolphins. With John Elway hurt tonight, Bubby Brister will start his 4th game. They're averaging 35 points a game with him at quarterback, and of course Terrell Davis on the ground averaging 5.5 per carry. For Kansas City, it is do or die. A win tonight, they're back in the playoff picture. A loss tonight, they might as well be thinking about 1999. Great rivalry in Kansas City. The renewal tonight, the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Denver Broncos 9-0 coming in to face the Kansas City Chiefs, losers of 4 straight and 2 home games in a row, and that's news. 4-5 this season. And let's go down to the field and check in with Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Al, well, at least Marty Schottenheimer won't have to face his personal nightmare, John Elway, tonight. But, John, you have played in so many of these Bronco-Chiefs games. What is it like, and what do the Broncos have to do? Well,
I think, number one, to get started, we have to handle this noise. It's unbelievable when you come here and play, and as you can tell right now, it's loud, and it's only going to get louder. So if we handle that noise, we'll be in good shape.
There's been so much speculation about your health. Will you practice this week and play against Oakland?
I'm feeling a lot better. I made a lot of progress this last week, and then I got a couple more days to heal up, so we'll see how I feel on Wednesday. I'm hoping to practice on Wednesday and be ready next week.
One last thing, you think you'll go undefeated?
I don't know. We got to get by. This is our biggest hurdle tonight. We can get by tonight, then we'll take them one at a time after that.
So we'll see. Thanks, John. Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Leslie. If they get by tonight, they go home to face Oakland.
That's no picnic either now.
Nope, but they have them at Mile High. Then they go to San Diego. Then they have Kansas City at Mile High. Then they go to the Giants. And if they can run the table to that point, they would go into Miami on a Monday night, December 21st, with a record of 14-0, and Elway would face Marino for the first time since 1985. Apart from that, not much reason to tune in.
And there'd be 90 Dolphins there. 45 on the current roster and every living member of the 72 Dolphins.
Right, and a few ghosts as well.
And some guy named Shula on the sideline.
Vaughn Hebron is back to receive as Denver will receive the opening kick. Pete Stoyanovich kicking off for Kansas City. Crowd rising per usual here in Kansas City, and we are underway at Arrowhead Stadium as Hebron comes up to field the ball at the 12-yard line. Out past the 30, and he runs it back to the 32. And Denver will set up shop there. Greg Favors makes the tackle. So with Elway talking to Steve Antonopoulos, the trainer, it is Walter Andrew Brister III, and when you have 5 older sisters, you wind up with that nickname. Bubby.
What's the deal here with these quarterbacks and nicknames?
Yep.
Hey, it's all right.
Davis and Smith in the backfield. Rod Smith and McCaffrey having a great year outside. Sharp the tight end. Jones, Schlereth, Nalen, Neal, and Swain have done a masterful job up front. And that's the way to put it when your primary back, Davis, is averaging a scintillating 5.5 per carry. Brister on first down throws, and it's incomplete, in and out of the hands of Ed McCaffrey, and Brister winds up on his back. Take a look now with Browning putting the pressure on that time at the Kansas City defense. Leslie O'Neal was going to start, but has a sprained toe. So Browning, Bart, McLaughlin, and Derek Thomas was only going to play on passing downs, but he's in the lineup. Simmons, Edwards, and Davis are the linebackers. McMillan and Hasty at the corners. Tung and Woods are the safeties. Dale Carter, their best cornerback and one of the best in the league, inactive again tonight. 2nd down and 10 from the 32-yard line. And Brister flips it out to Detron Smith, who's playing in place of the injured Howard Griffith, and the fullback makes the catch, picks up the 1st down, run out of bounds by Anthony Davis. 16-yard gain.
This is what a great running game can do for you. You work a little play action in the backfield. The Kansas City Chiefs actually have 8 guys right on top of the line of scrimmage, and they all go into try to tackle Terrell Davis, and he just drops it off into the flat. One of the reasons that Bubby's playing so well is because of plays just like that.
From the 49, the Broncos, and they have been fabulous in the 1st quarter this season, as Davis, behind the line of scrimmage, gets taken down by Chester McLaughlin, and that's news in and of itself. Terrell Davis rarely loses yardage. Quite in contrast to somebody like Barry Sanders, who with his running style suffers a lot of losses on plays. Not so with Davis.
Most of the time that Terrell Davis changes directions, he's already beyond the line of scrimmage. He's not a very big risk taker in that he is what we used to call a north and south runner. And there is Howard Griffith, the outstanding blocking fullback. He hopes to be back next week. He's got a sprained knee.
Only the 14th time that Davis has been taken down for a loss in 223 carries, as Rod Smith takes in the pass from Brister and works his way to the Kansas City 43, about 2 yards shy of the 1st down. Reggie Tung makes the tackle. Shanahan looks at the script.
You know, everything revolves around Terrell Davis, but there are so many opportunities for the other players on the team, and most notably Rod Smith, who's really come into his own this year. He makes plays like this and makes defensive backs like McMillan miss, and that's the key to a great running receiver after the catch.
Well, Boomer, you could see that McMillan was giving Smith a 10-yard cushion right there. Smart play, just chuck it to him, let him make something happen.
3rd and 2, Brister lines up in the shotgun. And movement up front clearly as Derek Thomas came across the line. We'll see what Dick Hantak.
Well, Bubby raised his leg to start the motion on the offense, and it started Derek Thomas at the same time.
Defense unabated to the quarterback. 5 yards, 1st down.
One of the things that is uncharacteristic of a Marty Schottenheimer team are turnovers and penalties, and we were asking him last night about the penalty situation, and says it isn't really much more than it has been in the past. The problem is the inopportune times of when we get the penalties.
Well, you know, Bubby actually raised his foot, Boomer, to start the motion, but then took a step back at the same time.
I bet you Derek Thomas was looking back there, figuring the snap was coming right after that, and tried to anticipate it.
Well, I don't blame him. I think Brister got away with one there with that little half step backwards.
Chiefs came into the weekend leading the league in penalties, and it is Brister with a lot of room to roam inside the 20, and Bubby inside the 5 takes it all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. Rod Smith and Shannon Sharp did the blocking. A 38-yard run by 36-year-old Bubby Brister.
Oh boy, do I love that when a 36-year-old takes off like that. But again, it all goes back to the running of Terrell Davis and how much you want to pay attention to him. This is just a little bootleg where they fake it to Terrell. Everybody overplays, and they have man coverage downfield, and there is nobody to cover the quarterback. Oh.
Well, he gets an outstanding block downfield. Rod Smith ties up McMillan and stays with him. And you will seldom see play action sold to that degree.
When you have Terrell Davis back there, you could sell anything.
38-yard run. There is a marker down on the point after. It is the longest run of Brister's career. The previous long was 20 yards. As the Broncos go 67 yards, 5 plays.
Well, the one thing for sure, that will slow down the backside pursuit in the foreseeable future for Kansas City defensively. Guys will be staying at home.
Defense, number 75, unnecessary roughness, 15-yard penalty, penalized on the kickoff.
That's Chester McLaughlin. He gets flagged for a personal foul. Again, Bubby all alone on his rollout boomer. That's got to be fun.
Oh, it's great. Look at that.
And only 13 against, so they're plus 94 in the first quarter, and that tells you, among other things, they have rarely trailed this season. Not only 9-0, but almost never having to come from behind. And Elam, who kicked the 63-yard field goal to tie Dempsey's mark a couple of weeks back against Jacksonville, sends that one out of the end zone.
You know what I don't understand like that? When you have the ball on the 45 line, why not just pooch it to the 5-yard line and let your guys get down there and make a tackle?
Well, they give it to them at the 20, and Rich Gannon once again comes out of the bullpen. He was 3-1 in relief of Gerbach, who was hurt on opening day, and now Gannon's back with Bennett in the backfield. Anders went to the Pro Bowl last year. Risen and Alexander outside, and Gonzalez, the very talented tight end. Criswell, Parker, Grunhard, Shields, and Victor Riley, their #1 draft choice out of Auburn. At tackle, first down from the 20-yard line. Gannon going deep on first down for Alexander, and Alexander can't make the catch. Great effort. Ray Crockett is right there with him. Juggled it, couldn't hold on. So right off the bat, the Chiefs on a bomb from Gannon for Alexander. Go deep. Gerbach with the earpiece and the helmet on the sideline right now as we take another look.
This team is a team that is trying to do anything it can to get itself on track offensively. And when you come out and throw the bomb on the first play of the game, that's that kind of signal.
Second down 10 now from the 20-yard line. And they give it to Bennett. He probes the middle, and he picks up a couple, gets to the 22. He's stopped there by Keith Traylor. Let's take a look at that Denver defense. Somewhat overlooked, but doing a great job. Neil Smith, the longtime Chief. Traylor, another ex-Chief. Price really coming into his own. And Tanuvasa, Mobley, Kudrez, and Romanowski just keeps rolling along. Crockett and Gordon at the corners. Eric Brown, a great-looking rookie. And Steve Atwater, the longtime safety. Neil Smith, so many great years here in Kansas City. Now in his second year with Denver. Third down and 8 from the 22-yard line. Gannon throws, and it's caught up at the 31 by Kevin Lockett, the second-year receiver out of Kansas State, the #3 wide receiver. They're trying to work him into the action more and more, and the crowd responds to it.
Well, the crowd understands the importance of that first down. And you got a defense that's a little shell-shocked after giving up a touchdown on Denver's opening drive, and let them collect themselves over on the sideline a little bit, gather themselves, put together a good, solid drive. That was a nice, safe completion for the first down.
You're right, Dan. You don't realize how big a play that was.
3 and out there would not have been good.
From the 31-yard line, they go back to the ground, and Bennett goes next to nowhere. Picks up a half yard, if that, as Trevor Price and Bill Romanowski push him back. When you talk about Romanowski, not only is Bill one of those guys who seems to wind up in a lot of highlight film and tape, but Romanowski was the guy who actually recommended to Mike Shanahan, hey, why don't you take a look at Bubby Brister? He's out of football. He might be a good guy to bring in and look at to back up Elway.
And Mike, admitting that he's not a know-it-all, said that, you know, Bubby was a guy that never even crossed my mind. It had never dawned on me to even look up Bubby Brister.
Romanowski played with him at Philadelphia. Second down and 9 from the 32-yard line. And it's Bennett swinging to the outside and then cuts it back and gets taken down at the 34. Keith Traylor with the penetration. It'll be third down.
You know, one of the reasons that nobody really thought of Bubby is we played together for the New York Jets in '95. And
what was the word you used there?
We stunk, baby. We were 3-13 and we were bad. And he and I were the beneficiary of that season. And Glenn Foley broke a shoulder that year as well. So it was tough sledding as a quarterback. And Bubby has come back. He's found a new home here. He's done a great job. This is exactly why you want a veteran of this caliber playing for you. If you can put him in a system with a lot of great players around him, he certainly can be effective, and he has been more than just effective.
Backing up Elway and backing up Brister right now is Brian Greasy, Bob's son. Third down 7 from the 35-yard line. Gannon pump fakes, and then over the middle he winds up hitting Anders, but well short of the first down at the 38. Romanowski makes the tackle, so the Chiefs get 1 first down and now have to punt.
I have a bone to pick with Romanowski as well. You know, he picked me off in Super Bowl 23 down in Miami. I think he was a rookie, and made an outstanding play.
Well, that play wasn't very glamorous, but
Nope.
he didn't buy that pump fake of Rich Gannon's.
He's an old pro. You're not going to fool him very easily.
No, he stayed with the covered, smothered Anders.
Louis Aguiar to kick. Darian Gordon, the highest return average in the history of the National Football League, but the ball never gets there. Short boot, rolls out of bounds at the 20-yard line, and the Broncos get it back at that spot. Denver 7, Kansas City nothing. Second time we've been here this season. In fact, we were here for the Monday night game 3 weeks ago as the Pittsburgh Steelers came in and knocked off Kansas City. Then the Jets came in the following week and beat them. And the Chiefs lost last week at Seattle. Before that, the losing streak had started in Foxborough to the Patriots as Terrell Davis has a first down and more. And he's finally knocked out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Tony Jones, the tackle, led the way. It's a 19-yard gain for Davis. Bobby Brister has been in the league since 1986. He made his debut on Monday Night Football. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hey, whoa,
Boomer
man.
Esiason with 2 touchdown passes that night at
Whoa, look at that young
Stadium.
strapping stud right there, Dan.
Cincinnati wins it by 2.
Boy,
Oh, boy.
when did you
That
first
must have been 100 years ago.
when did you first develop this case of modesty?
I don't know.
First and 10 from the 40-yard line.
A young strapping stud.
That was 30 pounds ago.
Brister rolling to buy time, and then he guns it, and it is Ed McCaffrey making the catch. McCaffrey having a career year, pulls it in on the far sideline, somehow stays in bounds, first down at the 41.
You know, in talking to Mike Shanahan, we had asked him, you know, you cut back the plays for Bubby? Is there certain things? He says, heck, we put in more plays for Bubby. He can move, he can get outside, and this is one of Ed McCaffrey's best plays, the down and out or the comeback on the sideline. He has a real knack of getting on the side and getting position against his defensive back.
That's also 6'5" going against 5'7".
10-inch differential. It's another 19-yard gain, so Davis gets 19, then McCaffrey with a 19-yard reception, then Terrell again for at least 19, and more than that, inside the 10, touchdown Denver.
All week long, Marty Schottenheimer talked to his team about weathering the storm that the Denver Broncos will bring at you in the first quarter. I'm not sure they were listening.
Well, you go back to the play action passing, Bubby's long run, his throw down the sideline, and it all comes off of this right here. Terrell Davis takes the ball, goes right up the middle.
Well, look at the blocking.
And breaks the tackle and goes down to the sideline and breaks another tackle. That's 2 right there. That's where it all begins and ends, right there with their running ability.
Elam for the point after. Terrell Davis this season already with 700-yard games, 7 out of 9, and tonight, just 7.5 minutes into the game, 57 yards on the ground for Davis, and the machine leads 14-0. The national telecast at noon Eastern time, followed by regional action, including Florida, Florida State, SC UCLA, and Kansas State, number 1 in the coaches poll at Missouri. Tough one at Columbia.
That will be tough.
1-yard line, Sheehy accepts the Elam kick. And the rookie out of the University of Washington
Ball
loses the ball at the 24-yard line.
This is the other thing that Marty Schottenheimer was telling us. It's the amount of turnovers that they've had, but they've actually fumbled the ball, I believe, 24 times or 27 times, I believe.
Eric Hicks recovered it.
Let's go back to the touchdown run by Terrell Davis. Look at the blocking at the point of attack. This is Shannon Sharp on Simmons. Harry Swain obliterates McLaughlin. And if you think Shannon Sharp is just a pass receiver, think again. Just exemplary blocking at the point of attack, and then it's speed and power by Terrell Davis.
Coach Shanahan said that Shannon Sharp has really become the total player, the total package at tight end now.
From the 25, Bam Morris is in the game at running back. Action up front, whistles, flags, no play.
They could call this one on the defense, actually, as opposed to the offense.
Dick Hantak, he heads a crew that has called more penalties than any officiating crew in the league this season.
They want FaceTime, Al.
Well, and they're working with the team tonight that, as we mentioned, leads the league in penalties coming into the weekend.
This will go against the defense. It's got to go against the defense.
False start.
No, I guess not.
Offense.
Good one.
69 prior to the snap.
You go back to the replay, you'll see.
Still first down.
One penalty on Kansas City, second penalty on Boomer.
Well, you will see. I'm telling you, go back to the replay, you will see the defensive guy initiate the movement. You take a look right up top. I don't know if it's Traylor or Smith. Oh, see, there.
Traylor hopped out of his stance.
So what do you think?
Well, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Right, I know. That's what I'm saying.
First and 15 from the 19-yard line, and they give it to Bam Morris, and he runs into Glenn Pedres, picks up a couple. Bam Morris, a promising start to his career at Pittsburgh, and then problems with the law on to Baltimore. Was arrested for possession of marijuana, then sent to jail for violating probation. Spent 89 days in jail in Texas. Signed with the Bears, played with them earlier this season, and wound up getting traded to Kansas City about a month ago. Morris now out on 2nd and 11. And Gannon with the protection breaking down because the coverage was so good in the secondary. Traylor's the first guy to make the stop at the 22-yard line.
You know, I'll tell you, this is a really tough spot for Rich Gannon, and coming in here on Monday night and starting. I think really what Marty was trying to do, when I look at it, is I think you want to take some of the pressure off of Elvis Gerback. I mean, if he would have had to come back here and start tonight on Monday night, it would have been a lot of pressure for him to complete every pass he threw. And now that you put in Rich Gannon, you're trying to get a spark against, you know, obviously the best team in the NFL right now. Not an easy spot for Rich Gannon.
3rd down and 12 from the 22-yard line. Gannon sidearms it. It's caught, and breaking a tackle is Kimball Anders. So the Chiefs get a first down up at the 41-yard line. John Mobley would have stopped him well shy of the first down, but Anders ran out of his grasp, picks up 19.
And that's one of the guys that needs to step up. Kimball Anders, you know, he's a Pro Bowl player. He's a guy who can make plays for you. And when you throw the ball out here and it's one-on-one, the back has to make the first guy miss. And that's what Kimball does right here. Mobley tries to go a little bit too high on him. The strength of a fullback and a receiving fullback is dangerous in the open field like that.
First down at the 41. Denver up 14-0, and this is Bam Morris picking up 5 up to the 46-yard line. Greg Robinson is the Denver defensive coordinator. Part of a terrific staff that Mike Shanahan has put together, and we mentioned during the pregame show Mike had a chance to go to Denver in '93, but the circumstances weren't right, so they hired Wade Phillips to replace the fired Dan Reeves, and then in '95 it was right. He wound up getting Robinson to coach the defense, brought Gary Kubiak in to coach the offense, has kept the staff very much intact. 2nd down and 5 from the 46. Morris again. No gain.
You know, you talk about free agency in the NFL, and one of the things that is hardest to do for the teams that are the most successful is keeping all their coaches together, continuity. And there are a couple coaches on that sideline for the Denver Broncos, Greg Robinson being one of them, and Gary Kubiak, the other, that could have head coaching possibilities in their immediate future.
Third down and 6 at the 45-yard line. Chased by Neil Smith, throws, and it's caught by Ted Popson, but he is tackled at the 44. Goes to the line of scrimmage by Mobley. It'll be 4th down. Monday Night Football from Kansas City is being brought to you by First Union, your guide to the financial world. Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and the Super Bowl. Direct computer solutions for businesses at home and around the world. Be Direct, Dell. And the new Dodge, it's about change.
Tough to run those play action passes on 3rd down when you don't really have a running game.
Aguiar to punt. High floating kick. That goes out of bounds at the 23-yard line. So the Broncos, who have scored on their first 2 possessions, will get it there. Aguiar was hit as the ball went skyward, but no penalty was called. Vaughn Hebron coming in with a near block. Al Michaels with Dan Dierdorf, Boomer Esiason, and Leslie Visser. The Broncos, 2 touchdowns, 2 possessions. Start this drive from the 23-yard line, up 14-0 as they try to go 10-0. And Brister throws. It's caught up at the 29 by Smith, who's forced out of bounds by McMillan at the 32.
Geez, they only picked up 9 or 10 yards on that play. Their first 2 drives, they're averaging almost 18 yards a carry.
There's Dale Carter, the defensive back, the Pro Bowl defensive back for the Kansas City Chiefs. But, you know, one of the things about Bubby Brister that Mike Shanahan liked so much was his accuracy in practice, and we're seeing that tonight. He's putting the ball right on the money, and he's delivering it, obviously, with a lot of confidence.
2nd and 1 from the 32-yard line. Davis through the middle, looked like a face mask, and it is a face mask, so he has a first down, and they'll tack on more. Anthony Davis had him by the mask.
You know, Dan, the amazing thing that I see is that Kansas City has 8 guys, I mean, within a yard of the line of scrimmage, it seems like, and they still can't stop them.
Boomer.
Personal foul. Defense.
That's how dominant.
Number 50. 15-yard penalty. First down.
As we look at Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, that is how dominant this offensive line of Denver's has become. Again, it's just an explosion, and that is a big-time face mask. No doubt that that's the 15-yard variety by Anthony Davis.
He might have went for another 30 yards.
He may have. It's almost a. You can see that the guys in the red shirts are just being instantly like blown off the line of scrimmage.
Well, look how close they are to the line of scrimmage right now.
From the 46, with Sharp having gone in motion, Brister looked that way, comes back this way, and it's dropped at the 40-yard line by Rod Smith.
Did that thing get hit at the line of scrimmage?
Might have been tipped.
Ball looked like it changed direction a little bit.
Derek Thomas could have gotten a hand on it. 2nd down and 10.
You know, Bubby was out of football for a year. You know, I felt like leaving football for a year too after 1995, but
you have left football for a year.
Yeah, well, I'm gone for good now. But you know, the thing about it is that it's good to see a guy come back and revitalize his career. And really got a Super Bowl ring last year, and is looking like he's going to get another one this year.
2nd and 10 at the 46-yard line. Davis
again
for no gain.
I think he might have lost yardage on that, Al. Real close.
Donnie Edwards. Coming into the game, Davis had lost yardage only once every 17 carries, and that's great. That's the 2nd best rate in the NFL through 9 games, and rushing through 9 games, as you can see, with O.J. Simpson, the most yardage in 75, and Jim Brown those 2 seasons. Davis would be 4th on the list. Of course, the record, though, for a season is Eric Dickerson, 2,105 in 1984, and Davis is on a pace to exceed it. Brister one-hands the snap under pressure and then throws, and does a good job of making it look like he was throwing it away without drawing the flag.
It looked like the ball was at the feet of Rod Smith, but you wonder if Terrell Davis would play full games, how many yards he would have. You got to remember, he probably hasn't played, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 fourth quarters.
Well, last week he didn't play very much in the 4th against San Diego.
So you can see on the rollout by Brister, he is outside the pocket. So he is in a position where he's allowed to intentionally ground the football. Because of that little sprint action, he was, and he knew it. Smart play by Bubby.
Forced out as Tom Ruin punts. It was almost blocked. Taking it at the 10-yard line, getting hit immediately and losing the ball and picking it back up is Lockett.
Wow, what a hit.
Darius Johnson, who's known for hard hitting.
Wow.
And who's still down.
What a collision that was. We could hear it all the way up here in the booth, and you have to play the game at an intense level at high speeds, and this is what happens.
This is a face mask to face mask hit, and you'd think Lockett would be the one who is hurt, but yet Johnson, the Broncos, still on the ground.
Darius Johnson from the left comes flying. It looks like he hits him with the side of his head. This game is played at a high velocity. It's ferocious, and it is surely physical. Darius Johnson gets up and is off on the field. He's okay. But this game is played at a very quick pace.
Well, even though that was helmet-to-helmet contact, certainly a no-no in today's NFL world, it was Lockett that actually turned towards Johnson.
You know, and the thing is, Dan, they teach you how to tackle in practice. They tell you how to practice, and they tell you how to tackle. And sometimes these guys get a little overzealous when they get out on the field.
Lockett returning kicks tonight because Tamarick Vanover is hurt and inactive. First down from the 10-yard line as Gannon guns it. Caught up at the 23-yard line. Nice grab by Tony Gonzalez, the tight end, for a first down.
Oh, you love a tight end that can go up and get a football and make a hands catch like that.
And the last time we were here against Pittsburgh, Tony Gonzalez dropped a handful of balls, and it looks like he's worked his way back into the good graces of the quarterbacks. This is a really nice catch, and he knows he's going to get drilled as soon as he catches the ball, and you could see Romanowski just lay into him, or try to lay into him.
Tony Gonzalez at 6'4", 250, and an extraordinary athlete. I think everyone knows about his basketball background at Cal.
Gannon guns it on first down, and that's incomplete. This time intended for Andre Rison.
There aren't many general managers and coaches around the NFL that don't covet Tony Gonzalez.
Despite all the drops this year, Gonzalez came in along with Anders, leading the team in receptions with 30.
Think how many more he would have if he didn't drop some.
Yeah.
And he's a terrific athlete. He's one of those players. He was a basketball player also in college. And his athleticism allows him to go across the middle and make those catches, and his wingspan.
Yeah, but keep in mind, he's still a baby. This is just his second year in this league. A lot of growing to go.
2nd and 10. And Bam Morris gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Ma'a Tanuvasa.
And that's because Gonzalez whiffed on a block right at the point of attack.
That's our old pal Dick Enberg might have said, oh, Ma'a.
Oh.
Well, you know, the whole bit about Shannon Sharp becoming the complete tight end. The tight end is more than just a pass receiver. He's an extension of the offensive line, especially on running plays, and how valuable it will be for the Kansas City Chiefs once he figures out that it takes both sides of the ball game, the passing game and the running game, for him to be truly considered a Pro Bowl player.
3rd down and 13 from the 20-yard line. Gannon wiggles free, flag thrown, pass low.
Holding. Offensive.
Talked about Hantak's crew. The average NFL game has 14.5 penalties. Those are accepted penalties.
Holding. Offense, number 61. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Hantak's crew comes in averaging 20.8 penalties per
That
game.
that one won't count. It was declined.
That's right.
The thing that if you're the Kansas City Chiefs right now, you need your special teams to create a turnover or something. Your offense is not moving at all, and you need to get some field position.
Special teams long a Kansas City strong suit, guys. This year, it's been somewhat of a disappointment.
This is a wobbly duck. Well, it's duck season here.
Yes.
And Aguiar with a wounded one that's down at the 45-yard line.
Did you get a little duck hunting in, Al, over the weekend? I know you're a noted outdoorsman.
I ate some pate. I don't know if that counts or not. Some foie gras. Wednesday on ABC, Mimi pulls the biggest prank in television history, sending Drew to China with no money, no passport, no nothing. The Drew Carey Show. ABC, Wednesday.
I mean, I was thinking about doing that with you, Al.
What's that? Going to China with no money, no passport?
No per diem.
No per diem?
No hotel room.
No good hotels. First down from the 45. Brister under pressure. And that's incomplete. And Bobby goes down. And remember, with Elway in street clothes, Brian Greasy is the backup quarterback. Wayne Simmons puts him down. And Bobby, with his helmet off, if he can't run this play, has to come out at least for one play.
He's all right.
Or they have to take a timeout.
They're saying he took his helmet off. That's why they won't call a penalty.
That's it.
And smart by the Kansas City Chiefs to do that.
Bobby complaining that he was driven into the turf by Wayne Simmons, and that was nothing more than a little mini temper tantrum by Bubby Brister.
Here's Brian Greasy going, I don't know if I want to go into this right now.
The offense removing his helmet. 15 yards.
And Bubby complaining to the guy who is responsible for calling that penalty, referee Dick Hantak. That's the referee's responsibility to keep an eye on the quarterback.
And, you know, the interesting thing about that, it was the Kansas City Chiefs defensive players who said, hey, he took his helmet off. Throw the flag, and the official reacted to it.
Now, Boomer, I will say this. More often than not, when you see a quarterback who gets driven into the ground like that, you'll see the roughing the passer call.
You will. And, you know, I'm just wondering, can you take your helmet off to take the grass out of it? You know, you got grass clumps in there and stuff.
You could argue that case. It would be an interesting case.
But
I'd
Bubby,
be arguing it too, you know.
Bubby made no attempt to do that. He took it off the jaw at the referee.
You think so?
Tough to prove your case in a dome. 2nd and 25 from the 30 as they give it to Rod Smith. And on the end around, he gets dragged out of bounds by Reggie Tongue on a play that will end the first quarter when they begin to re-roll the clock here.
Donnie Edwards was right there. We saw Carnell Lake do it in the Pittsburgh game last week, and he could have made the play in the backfield. But look at the grass in his helmet. He's just taking the helmet off to get the grass out.
Boy, you have lost touch with reality.
You should be allowed to do that. You should be allowed to do that.
Oh, should you?
Yeah, you should.
The Denver Broncos up by 14, end of one, as they try to stay unbeaten. End of one, Denver 14, Kansas City nothing. And Monday Night Football is back after this message. And a word from our ABC stations.
This is a look at Ed McCaffrey running a pass pattern against James Hasty. Watch when he makes his break to the inside. Right here, ooh, he pulls up, and it looks he clutches at his right hamstring. And Ed is over on the Denver bench right now. They're trying to stretch that thing out. Boy, you can see him immediately go for the right hammy, and that's not a good sign for a guy who's just having by far and away the best year he's ever had. It's beyond a career year.
Well, Ed started with the Giants. He went to San Francisco. He played with Shanahan when Mike was the offensive coordinator, and then Mike brought him to Denver when he became the head coach, and he's now their long threat, third down and 18.
He looks like a possession receiver. The guy's averaging 18 yards a catch.
Marcus Nash in for him right now. They give it to Davis, and he gets taken down again for a loss at the 34-yard line.
The interesting thing about McCaffrey is that Shanahan was saying how as the game goes on, because of his conditioning, the better he gets. In the fourth quarter, he's faster than the guys he's actually playing against.
Look at Denver in the first quarter, 163 yards despite having the ball only 5 minutes.
Well, when you're knocking it down at about 15, 18 yards a play, you don't need to keep the ball very long.
Doesn't get any better than that.
No, it does not.
Tom Ruin to punt. Both Ruin and Elam are having great years. Good punt, juggled at the 15, and falling on it there is Lockett at the 13-yard line. Darius Johnson, good to see him back in the game, covering on the play.
Lockett,
second quarter, 14-7.
Lockett might have been looking for him right there.
East against the New England Patriots in a critical game for the Pats next Monday night.
It's getting hairy in the AFC East. That should be a great one next week.
First down, KC from the 13. Gannon going deep and a little too deep as Andre Rison had gotten behind Darian Gordon.
No, I guess you figure if you can't do it in about 3 or 4 plays, you try to do it in 1.
Well, when you're down 14-0, I think that's a good idea. Go ahead and take a shot.
You know, and Andre Rison is a terrific outside receiver, and to take advantage of his speed and his ability to catch the football, and you can see he's got Gordon beat. No, why not?
Looks like Jeff Criswell, the starting left tackle for Kansas City, hurt himself on that play, had to come out. Marcus Spears has taken his place over here on the left side.
And it's second down and 10 from the 13-yard line as Gannon slings it, and it's dropped up at the 24. Would have been a first down. Kevin Lockett.
You wonder if Kevin Lockett has any remnants left over from the last shot that he took on the punt.
Well, since then, he's muffed the punt and dropped the first pass that hit him right in his hands. If somebody hit me that hard, I'd have a little residual effects.
They talk about it. Defensive coordinators always talk about it. Hit the quarterback. Hit him, hit him, hit him. Even if you do not sack him, just always try to leave a message. And I wonder if Kevin Lockett has received that message right now.
Nobody's home. 3rd down and 10 from the 13-yard line. Blitz. Gannon steps up. Fires. Caught up at the 31 by Kevin Lockett.
All right, he's back.
All right, redemption. Okay.
Well, it's not often that when you make a mistake, right away you get a chance to go ahead and redeem yourself, and Lockett was given that opportunity.
You know, and Rich Gannon showed confidence in his receiver, and Rich Gannon does a really nice job of moving in the pocket. These are the things that Marty and Jimmy Ray say that they like about Rich, that he'll move around in that pocket and not get panicky, and he'll deliver the ball on target.
And then he chucked it sidearm to get inside the Bronco pass rush. Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, looks on.
From the 31-yard line, it's an end around to give it to Andre Rison, but he can't get on track. It's a minimal gain. He's tackled by John Mobley.
Well, they basically have every play in the playbook out tonight. I mean, they're trying reverses, deep passes. They're moving Rich Gannon around a little bit. There's Jeff Criswell, who's on the sideline.
Dave Zott, their talented left guard, had tore a biceps in their opener.
The leader.
Yeah, the leader of this line, along with Tim Grunhard, the center, and Will Shields, the other guard, a talented middle trio. They're hoping to get him back sometime next month.
2nd down and 9. The ball up at the 32-yard line. Bam Morris is in the backfield. Give it to Bam. And he gets to the 35-yard line. Rich Gannon getting the start tonight, and we've been talking about Rich. You know, the fact, Boomer, that we mentioned that Bubby Brister spent a year out of football. So did Gannon. Gannon was a starter with Minnesota for 3 years. A part-time starter with the Skins in '93. And then in '94, he was out.
And in the last 4 years, he's been here in Kansas City.
You know, what people are finding around the NFL is that you need veterans on your team, especially at the quarterback position. If your main guy goes down or is not playing well, you have to have somebody that be able to go in there and move the team.
Even if they've been out a year. Hello, Randall Cunningham. 3rd down and 6. Gannon throws, and that's incomplete. Look around for a flag, and there is one dropped at the 42-yard line. Or is there?
It's going to either be holding or interference against number 39, I believe Ray Crockett.
Pass interference. Defense, number 39. 1st down.
You wonder if that ball was catchable, though. We were talking about Dave Zott a moment ago. Again, you and I both know just how important guys like that on your football team are. I mean, he's a strong-willed guy, and he's a real strong player at the point of attack. And that's a close call against Ray Crockett.
Ray Crockett really just looked like he had his hand resting on his hip.
Now Gannon fires outside, caught at the 39-yard line by Derek Alexander, who then picks up a couple of more as he gets to the 37.
And give Alexander a lot of credit right there. Would have been the easiest thing in the world to just make that catch and just step out of bounds and not take the hit. Instead, the guy fights for a couple extra yards and takes about 3 good shots from the Broncos for his troubles.
You know, for people who don't follow the Kansas City Chiefs, offensively, they have been struggling, and a lot of it's due to injury. Elvis Gerbach was missing for a while. Andre Rison missing. Also Derek Alexander. These guys feel a lot of pressure to go out there and perform.
2nd and 4. And Morris. And he works his way to the 30-yard line, and that'll move the chains. 1st down.
Well, there's no doubt that Bam Morris is the type of physical back that Marty Schottenheimer has always loved. Of course, never loved anybody quite like Marcus Allen. They had a really nice ceremony for Marcus tonight down on the field before the game, honoring the 5 years that he spent here in a Kansas City uniform. And what an ovation he got from this sellout crowd at Arrowhead.
It's amazing the impact that he had on these people in only 5 years.
And he said he will go into the Hall of Fame as a Chief. That is Bam Morris picking up a yard.
Versus?
I believe he began his career with the Raiders.
Marcus Allen still has a home here in Kansas City, has some business interests here, and along with Joe Montana, had a bit of a second life here in western Missouri.
Marcus rushing for more touchdowns than anybody in the history of the league. 123, though Emmitt Smith is in hot pursuit of him.
But I think the only guy also to rush for over 10,000 yards and have receptions over 5,000 yards. The guy could do it all. And a great blocker.
And a good guy. Flag down at the 35-yard line.
You're not kidding about this officiating crew with these flags.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's going to be another holding here. The crowd reacting to Neil Smith doing his home run swing after a sack. You know, in essence, the Kansas City Chiefs chose to keep Derek Thomas over Neil Smith when it came down to who they were going to sign, who was going to be their big signage.
Number 61, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 2nd down.
Center Grunhard.
Tim Grunhard gets the call, and you saw Neil Smith talking about, you know, waving it off, maybe that they would decline the penalty, but they want to put Pete Stoyanovich back out of field goal range.
So you know Neil's a little upset with that because he loses a sack.
No, yeah, that's a good point. That may be why he wanted to. You think he's that selfish, Boomer? Now stop.
Oh, they want sacks. I don't care what you say. Those guys want sacks down there.
2nd down and 18 from the 38-yard line. Gannon throws, good pass, caught, 1st down. Derek Alexander got inside. Crockett takes it to the 15-yard line.
One of the hardest throws that quarterbacks have in football is that little skinny post. It's about a down and in pattern. You want to throw it about 14 yards. You have to deliver it on time before that receiver gets too close to the center of the field, because the free safety is going to be bearing down on him.
Derek Alexander, a part of a very fine passing combination in college. His quarterback was Elvis Gerbach. The receiver on the other side of the field was Desmond Howard. Not all bad.
At the 15-yard line, they give it to Morris. And Van takes it to the 12. Gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 with 8:40 to go in the half, and the Bronx on top 14-0.
That throw that Rich Gannon just completed was one of the things that coaches all around the league who are evaluating quarterbacks look at. Can they throw that seam post and do it off their back foot without being able to step into the ball? And Rich did it real well and threw it accurately, which is the key.
Good sustained drive that began at the KC 13, now at the Denver 13, 2nd down and 7. Here's the blitz. He gets rid of it. He was caught by Kimball Anders. Seeks the 1st down. Out of bounds at the 5. It is a 1st down, 1st and goal.
Nicely done by all concerned, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's a veteran quarterback handling a blitz. He knows that the guy coming to him is not blocked, so he has to bait him. He has to make him think that he has a chance to make the tackle, and just loft it over his head and let the nimble Kimball Anders catch the ball. How about that, guys?
Very cute.
All right, good.
And if you notice, he caught the last half of the football. That was a superlative catch by Anders.
I just thought that up.
Oh,
That's an Emmy. 1st and goal from the 4. And this is Morris, who's anything but nimble. He's bullish, and he gets pulled out of bounds at the 3. Trevor Price leading the charge. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
Well, we all know that Marty loves those big guys. Like the last 1,000-yard rusher here in Kansas City was Christian Okoye.
91.
Yeah, one of the league's really big guys for slamming it up in there.
Nightmare.
He sure was.
He was a nightmare. Whew. You could see Bam coming around the corner, and Price doing a nice job of just stringing it out and letting his teammates pursue behind him.
2nd and goal from the 3. Gannon chased by Smith and eludes Neal, then throws it into the stands. 3rd down.
Well, Rich certainly would have had a much better chance of completing something down there if he didn't have to deal with Neil Smith right off the bat. Neil was supposed to be chopped, and those big hands weren't supposed to be in Gannon's face. You know, it's just little things like that. You know, it just takes. You got 11 guys on an offensive team, and one assignment doesn't get done, and this is a result. Neil Smith ends up ruining the play.
And give credit to Neil Smith, because it's the athleticism of a guy that size to be able to ward off blockers and keep them away from their legs, his legs.
Big play here. Long drive, and with the play clock ticking down, they have to take a timeout. But to have a drive this long and this sustained and down by 14 and settling for 3, that's not what they're looking for. 3rd and goal. We come back.
For great advice about digital technology, head for Circuit City. If you're looking for a deep
Aerial coverage provided tonight by Southwest Airlines. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Broncos and the Chiefs, a great rivalry through the years. Denver on top 14-0, trying to remain unbeaten, but the Chiefs trying to wrap up a long drive with a 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line and get right back into the game. Gannon hanging in, throws, open man, caught by Andrews, touchdown.
Finally, something to cheer about. Nice job by Kansas City of spreading the field with a lot of receivers. The key to that play, though, outstanding pass protection by the guys up front.
And nice poise by Rich Gannon, not panicking and giving his receivers a chance to get open and just making a play.
Pete Stoyanovich to convert. And with 6:31 remaining in the half, the Chiefs go 87 yards in 14 plays and get back into the game on the catch by Anders. It's Denver 14, Kansas City 7. On Hebron. Back to receive. No kickoff return touchdowns. 403 games. Not since 1972 have the Broncos run a kickoff back for a touchdown. Randy Montgomery did it. From the 13, Hebron. It's not going to happen here either as he's knocked out of bounds up near the 35 by Kevin Lockett. 6:21 left in the opening half at Arrowhead. Denver by 7. The thing I like about Mike Shanahan is that a lot of coaches would say the same thing, one game at a time and all that stuff, and sort of deflect the talk about an undefeated season. But I think Shanahan's going to wind up using it as a carrot in a way with his team.
Well, I think it's silly to pretend it's not happening. And you're right, why not? What he said to his team was you have a chance to separate yourself from the other teams that have played this game through the years, the other great teams. Why not do it?
Using it as a motivating factor, and with a guy like Terrell Davis, it becomes easy to do it and think about an undefeated season.
No, but the thing about it is, though, is that you keep the concentration level, the motivation for the team throughout the year, and to use that as that tactic, I think is a great way to do it. I mean, because there are a lot of teams around the league that each and every week they're trying new ways to try to get up and get the guys going.
Right.
Especially teams that are on losing, guys that are on losing teams. I mean, it's hard to go to work.
Well, one of the things that Denver has, the 72 Dolphins had it, tremendous internal leadership.
Absolutely.
A lot of the players that Mike Shanahan has on this football team have wonderful, fabulous work ethics.
Meanwhile, McCaffrey with a slight muscle pull, return questionable. Brister takes off with the receivers covered. Remember, Bubby ran 38 for a touchdown earlier and picks up a first down here.
Bubby looks like his hamstrings tightened up a little bit on him.
It looks like he runs like Keith Byers,
He was tiptoeing through the tulips on that.
You know how Keith Byers runs, got those little steps, Well,
Keith Byers runs like that because he wears a size 15 shoe. He can't move those sleds any quicker than that.
Look at Bubby, he's all fired up. But these are the things that he does really well. He looks downfield, he steps up like a good quarterback should, through the pocket, and sees that there's nobody there and takes it and goes with it.
Boop, 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 boop.
And straining.
First and 10 from the 37-yard line. Davis, no gain. Second down and 10. Monday Night Football from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City is being brought to you by the all-new Cadillac Seville, STS. It's not just new, it's what's next. The Office of National Drug Control Policy. And Circuit City. Answers in every department, low prices all over the store. 4:46.
A Vermilion crowd here in Kansas City.
Absolutely, Dan. I read it with you.
Second down and 10. Bubby under pressure, gets it away and finds the open man, and this time it's Shannon Sharp picking up His first reception of the night, taking it to the 18-yard line, tackled there by Woods for a first down.
Here's Terrell Davis helping Bubby Brister up. He took a wallop right to the chest as he delivered the football, but again, you see a veteran quarterback sitting in the pocket in the face of a rush and not panicking. And you can see right there, delivering the ball accurately. Anthony Davis was right in his face, number 50, but these are the things that Rich Gannon and Bubby Brister are able to do.
Denver right now, I think, has a little bit of a mix-up as to what their personnel package is.
All right, now, listen, Shannon Sharp just took his helmet off on the field.
Well, they called the timeout.
Oh, okay, I see now, all right.
And one of the reasons they're having that personnel problem is the absence right now of Ed McCaffrey. First down and a timeout for Denver. The Broncos moving down the field with Boomer's favorite word, alacrity, and the Chiefs moving down in sustained fashion.
I think you're a traveling salesman during the week for.
Yes, that's just what I do.
You're selling dictionaries and thesaurus.
That's their dictionary company.
That's how Jack Kent Cook actually got started.
Thesaurus as well.
First down at the 18-yard line after the timeout. And the flag is down as Terrell Davis gets banged down back of the line of scrimmage by Simmons and Thomas.
There'll be a movement on the left side of the offensive line. It was either Harry Swain or Shannon Sharp. Playing on the road, it's quite loud down there.
Prior to the snap, offense, false start, number 84, 5-yard penalty, still first down. Please reset the clock, 3 minutes and 52 seconds. 3 minutes and 52 seconds.
That's the kind of play that's dead before it begins. That's why the defense doesn't have the option of accepting or declining.
You know, you talk about the noise in this stadium. It's just like it in Denver. You know, the fans here in Kansas City today, everybody you walk around town, they're all wearing red. The whole city's behind their Chiefs. They're frustrated right now because they're not playing as well as they would have hoped, but they're still behind their team, and you can hear them here. And right now, this is where they become an integral part of the game.
First down, 15 from the 23-yard line. McLaughlin came across. Was he drawn by Swain is the question.
Chester, one of the guys in this league that really tries to anticipate the snap count. When he's on, he can wreak a lot of havoc with another team by being in their backfield. But he makes mistakes.
And another penalty.
Offside. Defense, number 75.
Yep.
Unabated to the quarterback. 5 yards. Still first down.
And Chester, you know, Chester causes a lot of mayhem by anticipating the snap count. Good hard count by Bubby Brister gets Chester to go, and you know that's the kind of a penalty that you hate to see. But you know something, Marty Schottenheimer will live with that because of the fact that Chester, over the course of his career, is such a disruptive influence on the field.
They'll live with it when they're winning and they have a winning record.
Well, it's all easier when you're winning, isn't it?
Yes.
Not that we would know.
First and 10 from the 18-yard line. Brister under heat again, gets rid of it.
Almost a major mistake. A one-hopper to Anthony Davis, according to the officials.
And Derek Thomas puts Brister on his back.
You know, you talk about a team that's undefeated, and you're talking about a team that's getting all kinds of breaks. And right here is a break as well. And this was really, really close.
Oh.
Davis was looking up at this replay.
No question.
Nope. Short hopping.
Oh, absolutely. Very plain to see, and the crowd here at the stadium just saw it on the big board, and they're not reacting. They know it was an incompleted pass.
Second down, 10 from the 18-yard line. Deep drop, tries to set up the screen, and nothing happening up front. Davis was the closest receiver. Derek Thomas forced the issue.
It was a screen, and Terrell Davis tripped a little bit, and Bubby was ready to deliver it, and Terrell had not turned around to look for the ball yet, so he tried to buy a little bit of time. But look, when Derek Thomas is on and he's pass rushing, he's one of the most difficult guys to deal with now, especially here in this in this stadium. When he goes on the road, he's not quite the force that he is, because he uses the sound and the noise to his advantage.
Well, here comes the sound and the noise right now. 3rd and 10 from the shotgun. They send Davis in motion to the bottom of the screen. And here they come up the middle, and down he goes to the sack at the 25-yard line. Donnie Edwards. Well, you got no back in your backfield to block. Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, opts for inside pressure and wins.
A really nice job by Gunther Cunningham, really taking apart the 5-man protection scheme of the Broncos. You can see comes in untouched because the 3 interior linemen all have men on them that they have to block. And the quickest way to get to that quarterback is up the middle.
Jason Elam, this is a 42-yard attempt. Elam holds, and it hooks good.
Ooh, that looks like a drive right there.
Very nice.
Yeah, you're left-handed, though. That's a slice. That's right.
Well, but you know, the way it drew there at the end.
No, you're left-handed. That's a slice.
I
if
know
it goes
that,
way.
but my draw, well, I really don't have a draw. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I do have a slice. Sorry. A fade. I have a fade. I don't have a slice.
That's fine. Well, that faded, sliced, hooked, whatever, very nicely between the uprights at the last minute.
Well, for Elam, it's almost a chip shot for a guy who earlier kicked a 63-yard field goal against Jacksonville to put his name into the record books.
Very modest about it, too.
Yeah. Along with Tom Dempsey. Well, with the undefeated untied story looming larger and larger, only 3 teams in the history of this league went through undefeated regular seasons. The Bears in 34 and the Bears in 42, only to lose in the playoffs. And the playoffs in those days, it was one game. It was a championship game. That's all they played in postseason, and the Bears lost both championship games. And then, of course, Miami went 14-0, won the 3 in postseason. So Denver trying to not only duplicate that feat, but really exceed it, because now with a 16-game season in the playoffs, you're looking at 19-0.
Pat Bowlen must have been thinking about those 2 Bears teams when he said this week maybe we'd be better off if we lost the game.
Elam kicking off with a score 17-7, taken in by Rashawn Keehee, the rookie from the University of Washington, from the 3 out to the 23.
Late flag.
Well, Hantax True has now called 9 penalties in the game. If this is accepted, this is a 10th. There's Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Broncos. Been a great year for him. Wins a Super Bowl. The stadium bond issue, the tax issue passes.
Holding during the return, number 51. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. First down.
That's Greg Minuski, and Pat Bowlen will see ground broken on his new stadium. He feels in about 2 months, and it'll be ready in 2001.
Greg Minuski, number 51, right there in the middle of your screen. And boy, he tried to pull him back in right away. Darius Johnson was the Bronco in coverage, and you know, he had the hands out there. He got him back in a hurry, but not quick enough to suit Hantax.
You know, one of the great owners in NFL is Pat Bowlen. I mean, he puts the money into the football team, brings big-time players here, and these Broncos, it seems like every year, are in the thick of it.
Maybe
all
he
the way
thinks
through the end.
Maybe he thinks they're being greedy.
First and 10. It's a fumble at the 9-yard line, and again the bugaboo for the Chiefs, but this time they wind up recovering it. Kimball Anders lost the football, but recovered at the 10-yard line. Some say this is the season's best new network drama. It's also a half-hour comedy, according to some. It's Sports Night. More than a comedy tomorrow at 9:30, 8:30 Central, right here on ABC.
Well, what is it?
You know,
is it a comedy?
It's a dramedy, isn't it?
A dramedy?
You're a dramedy.
Or a comma.
It's a comma. Comma drama.
Al's a dramedy.
Dramedy. Jeff Criswell is back in the game, 2nd down and 9. Andrews takes the toss, and Romanowski can't wrap him up, but he slows him down enough for Cordrez to clean it off.
Tough thing to do with a fullback is to try to pitch it out to him, let him get around the corner, even though Kimball Anders does have good, you know, reasonably good speed for a fullback and is able to catch the ball, but it's a little bit difficult to pitch the ball out and get him around the corner.
Criswell has to come out again as the clock ticks down to the 2-minute warning. 3rd and long upcoming for Kansas City. 2 minutes to the half. Denver up by 10.
Got 17 points on the board. You can't ask for more.
Oh, yeah. He had a 15-yarder for running his mouth.
Right. That's right. Exactly. Took his helmet off.
Bubby 74 yards through the air and 56 with his feet. 3rd down and 11, and it's caught at the 14, and Anders cannot get the first down. He's a little shy up at the 18-yard line. So the Denver Broncos have 2 timeouts. And I would have thought maybe they would take one here, but they're opting not to.
I would take one here because Kansas City is going to burn up a full 40 seconds.
Yeah. They should burn it up. They still have 20 seconds to go on the down clock.
Louis been around a long time. You'd think that he'd keep a pretty close eye on that. 10 seconds right now on the play clock. Yeah, Louis is going to burn it down.
So the Broncos elect not to take the timeout there. Have 2 left. Aguiar's kick, a spinning end over end boot. Darian Gordon from the 43. Guess what? A flag for a change. As he brings it back to the 44, Tito Paul.
And what a fortunate thing for Kansas City. This is going to make a huge field position difference.
It's going to be a clip.
Illegal block in the back during the return. Number 28.
Well,
10-yard penalty. First down.
Guys, we talked about it at dinner last night. I guess we can write it off now that we talk about it on the air. But the competition committee really has to look at penalties on runbacks because it's one of the most exciting parts of the game. And yet half the time back it comes.
Well, it's become so hard to do. You're not allowed to block below the waist now. The guys are so fast. And it has become very difficult. And you must have a lot of discipline to block. That's where it's a loss of discipline on the kicking game that causes a lot of guys to pick up these penalties. They know better, but for some reason they can't seem to help themselves.
First down at the 32-yard line. Denver up by 10. They have 2 timeouts. Brister guns it to Rod Smith, makes the catch over the middle, takes the ball into KC territory to the 49.
Think we can really write off dinner?
I got to call in and find out. Timeout, Denver. Timeout, 55 seconds remaining in the
Just so you know that
first half. Baltimore update, Chris Berman.
All right, Al, thank you. Ahead on the Lexus halftime show, the ESPN Top 10 Plays of the Week. Dances, laterals, options, ticker tape, rookie heroics, and a field goal gone terribly wrong. 104 yards worth. Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Chris. And back here in Kansas City. At the 49-yard line, Denver with a 1st and 10 with 1 timeout left.
this is where your big-time defensive players now have to step up. You need something from Derek Thomas right here.
Brister throws and somehow finds the open man. Sharp was in between.
Threaded the needle really for a seam pattern. He looked off the safety and drilled it right into Shannon Sharp.
Denver takes its last timeout with 46 ticks.
It just seems to me, and watching them and how confident they are in the plays that they're calling, the types of plays that they're executing, and really the chunks of yardage that they're getting. I mean, it is a machine. And you watch right here, Shannon Sharp just going down the field, getting in the seam above the linebackers and below the safeties. And Hasty's a cornerback that makes the tackle, and really the free safety is the guy that's got to be there to kind of stop that.
One of the guys on the field now for the Denver Broncos, number 82, their #1 draft choice this year, Marcus Nash.
Boy, he's a stud. Look at him, boys.
Posing for Muscle and Fitness magazine.
His arms are almost as big as mine.
There's Nash.
1st and 10 at the 46-yard line as Brister throws, caught by Smith, looks for the sideline, short gain.
And he's not going to get the out of bounds. They're going to say his forward progress was halted in the field of play.
Yes.
The clock continues to turn.
Things that you got to really watch when you're a quarterback. You got to find the sideline, find the referee on the sideline, and look at what he's doing.
And the Broncos just discovered it. In fact, they waste about 20 seconds, and Brister then has to spike it
in anger.
20 seconds.
Well, if you want the benefit of forward progress, and every offensive player wants it, you've also got to give up the fact that if you get stopped, 2 or 3 yards from the sidelines, even if you go backwards and give up ground to get out of bounds, the clock is going to continue to turn.
And Kubiak and Shanahan, you can see as they expressed their displeasure with it, because most of the Broncos sort of ambled back to what they felt would be the huddle with the clock stopped.
Well, the interesting thing now is that they got out of the huddle late. There's only about 4 seconds on the down clock.
Blitz. Brister going to the end zone, too deep, intended for Marcus Nash, and there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Tony Jones, I believe this is going to be on number 77. Another penalty.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Tony Jones, the left tackle for the Denver Broncos, playing the left side now that Gary Zimmerman has finally retired. He's on the left of your screen. And you can't blame the officiating crew for that. Tony started early.
Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's 3rd down with 15 seconds left, and they're going to line up to kick a field goal.
Well, I guess they feel that they don't want to run the risk. We're going to get another announcement from Hantak.
Pass. The clock should be reset to 20 seconds.
Ooh, now that might change things if it goes to back. That's another 5 seconds now.
Well, the interesting thing here is you could throw an out pattern on the sideline and try to get your guy out of bounds.
At 15, Mike's thinking that if it ends up in the field of play, I can't get my field goal unit out there in time.
But if it's 20 seconds, you should be
that
able
makes
to.
it a little closer. I guess with a 10-point lead, Mike's not going to take the chance.
46-yard attempt for Jason Elam. And now
it was Kansas City that called the timeout there.
They're going to try to ice him, maybe.
Their 2nd timeout. This is a 30-second timeout.
It's still, the question I have is, why don't you just take one shot at the end zone here?
Right, or just throw it down the sideline. And if they give you a coverage that you don't like, then just throw it away. But it's hard to argue with Mike Shanahan. I mean, he's probably, the last 2 years, he's been on the money and he's made all the right decisions. And really, the way he's running this football team right now, I mean, it's a model for the rest of the NFL. And, he's got total control. One of, 5 or 6 coaches in the league that are able to do that. And he relies heavily on his assistants, but really it all comes down from him.
Maybe they'll run a fake field goal here on 3rd down and still have time to get up to the line of scrimmage and down the football.
Well, Tom Ruin is the holder.
Problem there, if you don't make it, then it's going to be 4th down.
Ruin, not a quarterback by trade. He puts it down, and Elam boots a 46-yarder, and that one is good.
But your field goal team's already on the field.
Right.
You just run up there and line up and kick it. Obviously, Mike takes the safe 3 points, willing to go to the locker room up by 13.
On the road, a 20-7 lead with 14 seconds left in the first half at Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs are in danger of losing a 5th consecutive game. The Broncos, of course, attempting to remain unbeaten, go to 10-0. And let's get a report from Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Al, just a note on Jason Elam. He told me before the game that the Hall of Fame in Canton has asked for his right shoe. He said the shoe is 10 years old. Nike doesn't make that model anymore, so he will not give them until the end. Oh, here's Marcus Allen. Oh, God. Will not give it to them until the end of the year, but he said these are perfect conditions for a record-setting field goal. Al?
Is that CBS's Marcus Allen?
Yes, it is.
Trying to wrangle his way onto ABC?
I guess he wants. You want to come over here, Marcus?
You know what's great about Leslie? She actually bought my dinner last night. Neither one of you would pick it up.
This is our colleague, Marcus Allen. Marcus, big night for you.
Great night. Thrilled to death. It's nice to know that you played and you mattered. And Kansas City's been great to me. And I just wish the team would play a little better.
The best running back on the field, the one in uniform, Terrell Davis, went to your high school. What makes him so special?
He's awesome right now. Right now, I think he's just at a point where he's just physically very, very strong and just has a tremendous amount of confidence. And I remember when I was 25 years old, to 28, I felt like I was invincible, and I think he has that same feeling now.
Still look pretty good. Thanks, Marcus. Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Leslie.
He can't remember that far back. Well, he was in the league for 16 years.
Boomer, there's nothing like a halftime interview with Marcus Allen.
Right. How would you know? You know, the nice thing is that
we know.
No, the nice thing is that the Kansas City Chiefs really did give him a nice send-off this evening before the game, and it was a class organization given to one of the great all-time players in the NFL.
And Gannon gets sacked back at the 15-yard line. It is Keith Traylor. And Ma'atanovasa also coming in.
No, I think about the Chiefs and the pressure they're under. Right there, I probably would have just kneeled down on the ball, but if they did, I think their fans would have really started booing them.
Well,
they try to take a play and they get a sack.
Hey, the sack's meaningless, though. What really hurts if Gannon takes a chance and throws the football up there and possibly turns it over. The sack here, no big deal.
Look at Keith Traylor coming, trucking right up the middle.
And that is the end of the first half at Arrowhead Stadium. The Denver Broncos on top by a score of 20-7. Coming up, the top 10.